Hi, my name is Tyre Brown, also known as Drippy, and I'm the CEO and founder of Space Cadets and Bay Figures.
SK. She brought her girlfriends cause I got cadets with me. I got her feeling like my CEO. Drippy, Dougie like low-key, now we chillin' low-key.
I formed these crews in April 2010 with my cousin Deontay Brown, who is also known as Freshie.
How has jerking benefit you?
For me, jerking pretty much made me who I am today. Like, if it wasn't for jerking, I wouldn't have a family, you know? I wouldn't have a family, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who jerk is my family, because together, we're really our own individual. Like, there's nobody in the world as unique, as flamboyant, as outgoing, as hype as a jerk is. And that's what I love about it.
I have really mixed feelings about what I see going on in my neighborhood. And I don't necessarily think that gentrification is the answer to make it all better. What happens with gentrification is the municipal services improve, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the people are better, but the services provided to people are better.
There was a time certain people would never move into Brooklyn, would never move into Bed-Stuy, would never move in to certain communities because of the people who lived there. But after the whole economical crisis, you find people find themselves not having a choice.
You see like young, white, affluent, not even affluent, just sort of hipsterish people getting off the train. And it's not like this block has changed entirely. I'm not sure where they all actually are.
This is 17th and International of East Oakland. And these blocks are known as the track due to its high volume of prostitution.
Whenever I walk down the International Boulevard, people used to stare and sometimes whistle at me. Do they think I'm one of those girls?
Look at her in the corner, crying, curled up under the table, trying to hide from the world. She seduced you? You told her 5-year-olds can be so seductive.
Nationally, the average age of entry into prostitution is 12. Internationally, it's younger than 12. So women don't prostitute, but little girls get sexually abused and exploited, and then they grow up.
Ever since I can remember, education has been very important to me. Like right there, that's my kindergarten graduation. I've always done well in school, and I've always made education my #1 priority, and I've always had a dream to go to college. But for many teenagers, that dream becomes a nightmare when they realize the financial cost of furthering their education. I see many teenagers in my community who have the knowledge and desire to go to college, but may not have the money to do so. Sometimes it feels like we're divided as the haves and the have-nots.
High school is a time of vulnerability, anxiety, and above all, uncertainty. In these halls, I have experienced firsthand the constant pressure of growing up, of feeling at odds with authority, and of allowing myself to be controlled by the perceptions of others. Every day can be a struggle at my age, let alone in the face of intolerance. When it comes to sexual orientation, I live in a time and place in which middle ground is hard to find. On television and in high schools, gay and lesbian expression is either unrestrained or suppressed. My generation, it seems, is disoriented in a haze of sexual confusion, and the situation does not always look promising for gay youth. It is about time I talk to kids my age and find out what is really going on.
I was 8 years old when I first came to the United States. It was actually 1 week exactly after my 8th birthday, and today is the 18th anniversary of my arrival to the United States. My family has always valued education, and a whole part of the reason why we came to the United States to begin with was because of the better educational opportunities. Originally, we were only coming for a 2-week vacation in the summer, and once the summer was over, we were supposed to be going back to Mexico. But at the end of the summer, my father's argument to my mother that allowed for her to change her mind and allow us to stay in the States was, look, let the kids go to school for 1 year and let them learn English. And once they do, we'll go back.
I don't think that's fair. It's not the child's choice, whether they were born here or in a different country.
America is a country flourishing with opinions and disagreements. The root of the problem seems to be what defines an American, something still being debated, with high stakes for families like Camila and Valeria's.
The impacts would be horrific. It would, in effect, turn a significant number of residents of Arizona into people without a state. Would the lack of citizenship by parents then also affect the next generation? It would clearly impact it, because you're going to be denying a generation of children an opportunity to go into higher education. It would impact the quality of life for everybody, and it would certainly mark the United States as a country without a real future.
My mom told me that I was brought into the United States when I was around 2 months old. I was basically brought in through the border to the checkpoints with my cousin's birth certificate. When I realized my situation as in being undocumented, it was at a very young age. I could remember that I know that I was Mexican, but I didn't know what it all meant.
I just knew I was born somewhere else, and I thought, you know, well, people are born everywhere, and so what makes me so different? You know, when you find out you're from a child, you don't know what to expect. All you know is what you know.
When I was in elementary, I think 3rd or 4th grade, they passed a law that they would extract illegal immigrants from U.S. schools.
I didn't know. I mean, if they deport me to Mexico, what am I going to do there? I mean, really.
For centuries, people like me, people with disabilities, were viewed through the lens of pity. It is even believed that the term handicapped derives from the expression "hand in cap," which is an idiom connoting begging for money or help in a way which makes the person feel shame. Early 20th century charities also aimed to evoke guilt as well as pity, as in this 1930s postcard. And these 1950s postal stamps. To solicit donations in the 1970s, disability charities placed photos of disabled children on advertising posters.
I think I've learned a lot about the kids because I have an autistic cousin, so it's really helped me kind of understand more.
So let me ask you a question. She wants to know what you like best about baseball. Do you like to catch the ball, throw the ball, or hit the ball?
No, you like to run. Hit the ball!
Hit the ball!
Miracle League started as a baseball opportunity for kids with all sorts of disabilities. One of the things that was recognized early on in the league is the need for a little more specialized coaching and hand-holding with kids with autism.
Especially for children with autism, the same structure and consistency is very important. The day starts off with kids coming in and meeting up with their buddies. They'll go onto the field. The first activity is that the kids will be running around the bases with their buddy. They then will go to stations and practice batting. They may, depending on their abilities, then be broken up into tossing the ball back and forth. Once we've completed these small drills, the kids will then go up to the plate and they'll bat.
This garden is started in memory of my son who was killed in 2006 and all the other young people who lost their lives to gun violence in the South End and throughout the city. You know, the first thing that I did was the lot that it happened at. I kept driving by it and driving by it. It just was it was a terrible pain that I was feeling. And what I did was I organized a community cleanup with the kids, and we just cleaned the lot up. And then as we were cleaning, ideas were coming to mind of a memorial garden.
Between 79 and 81, I don't remember the exact year, but there was a fire and they were all burnt out. So of course the land became a dump, the neighborhood dump.
Before, in the early 70s, they used to have a lot of action in here with the drugs and everything else. And that's why we get to take over this garden and clean up all of that. Nobody drugs come in here now.
I used to be here when it was terrible. It was when I'm talking about 15, 16 years ago when I was a kid. I used to hang out here. All of this was mostly cars, broken buildings, and we used to cut class here. We used to actually do graffiti under the bridge that used to be here. Now, as I grew up and been through my trials and tribulations, this is a treasure. This is beauty. You can see life here. And that's basically what this place is about, life, man. And changing people, changing the community. It changed me.
So, what's your name?
My name is Tim Roy.
Do you play video games?
From time to time, yes. Not as much as I used to play them. I used to play them all the time.
My name is Justin Marty.
What's your favorite type of video game?
My favorite type is a college football type game. That's just the best kind.
State your name. Amy Diamond. I like Pokemon and Harvest Moon.
So, what's your name?
Paul Reese.
Okay, and do violent video games make people violent?
They don't make people violent, but I think they do bring out violent characteristics that people have. So if there's people that have violent tendencies that maybe they have under control, I think the video games tend to bring that out of them and sort of break down those barriers and the walls that they have to keep that under control.
By the time Washington passed suffrage, the movement had been going on for decades, many, many years. And it had been many years since any other state had passed suffrage. And so this victory in Washington state tended to, I think, suffuse the rest of the country with hope that there would be a national amendment.
Washington women used many strategies to gain the right to vote in 1910. One of my favorites was the cookbook, which they published as a fundraiser. And this had recipes and reasons why women should have the right to vote. And it was to assure the men who were voting on the amendment that, yes, there would be dinner on the table once women got the right to vote. They also published newspapers, put up posters, and there were even mountaineering suffragists. So there were a group that climbed to the top of Mount Rainier in the summer of 1909 and put a Votes for Women flag in Columbia Crest.
My 9-year-old brother Austin was a happy kid, full of energy and life. He had a passion for playing basketball, had lead roles in musical plays, and being only in the 4th grade, Austin was already a gifted and talented musician.
The first day I met him was, I want to be an advanced band, which is an audition, and clearly he was beyond his years in playing because he went right to the highest level band in elementary school within, I think it was within 2 weeks probably. It might have been the first day. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was early.
On April 9th, 2006, with disbelief, my brother was diagnosed with leukemia, cancer of the blood and bone marrow.
When it was confirmed that Austin had cancer, I was just heartbroken. He was just a little boy and I was always on top of his health, up to date with his doctor checkups and exams, and yet his life-threatening illness crept up on us without any warning.